Your go-to source, 3 Daily News, is here to break down how a low-key gold dispute in early 2025 exploded into a geopolitical standoff. The United States slapped a 39% tariff on 1 kilogram and 100-ounce Swiss gold bars, driving futures to an all-time high of $3,534 per ounce. Switzerland, which refines about 70% of the world's gold and exported $36 billion in just the first quarter, pushed back hard. Swiss President Karen Keller-Sutter made a last-minute appeal, but it failed, until Trump stunned markets by canceling the tariff through a social media post, instantly dragging prices back down to $3,470. This high-stakes drama could reshape global reserves, redirect trade flows, and alter monetary momentum worldwide. And it all began with Trump's bold gold gamble. In April 2025, the Trump administration triggered one of the steepest tariffs ever aimed at a developed country, a 39% duty on most Swiss imports. Gold was originally expected to be spared because of its central role in United States reserve management, but trade hawks in Washington spotted an opportunity, a chance to test Switzerland's dependence on the American market for ultra-pure bullion. Remember, Switzerland refines close to 70% of the world's gold, much of it melted down into LBMA-approved bars before being shipped to leading financial centers. For decades, the Federal Reserve has relied on Swiss refineries to safeguard the quality of its gold reserves. The standoff intensified on July 31st when United States Customs declared that 1 kilogram and 100-ounce bars, the COMEX standard, would be hit with tariffs. Futures shot up to $3,534 per ounce, prompting Swiss President Karen Keller-Sutter to make a last-minute trip to Washington that ultimately failed. But this wasn't just a fight over numbers. It was tied to Trump's $48 billion deficit campaign, Utah's demand for origin transparency, and Switzerland's ironclad banking secrecy. And if Switzerland's dominance in gold refining was the spark, the next gear in this story is understanding why that dominance is nearly impossible to replace. Why Swiss gold is the irreplaceable engine of the system. Gold may carry ancient prestige, but refining it today is a high-precision business, and Switzerland operates like a championship pit crew. Its 4 top refineries produce bullion so pure it meets the strict standards required for central bank reserves, including those of the Federal Reserve itself. Could others step in? Canada and Australia can't match Switzerland's scale or reliability, while Japanese refiners face heavy local demand and complex logistics. Even if these producers ramped up, hurdles like LBMA certification, higher shipping insurance, and slower delivery would stall any attempt to replace Swiss supply. And gold's role doesn't stop at bullion. Swiss refineries are tied to other precision-driven exports, from luxury watchmaking to pharmaceutical catalysts. In the first quarter of 2025 alone, more than $36 billion in bullion made up 2/3 of Switzerland's trade surplus with the United States. That leverage explains why Washington's tariff threat shook not only traders, but entire industries. Before we dive deeper, do us a quick favor. Smash that like button and subscribe to 3 Daily News, so you never miss the latest breakdowns on global markets and power shifts. Now, if Swiss gold is truly an irreplaceable engine, the big question is this: how do these tariffs ripple through the U.S. economy's drivetrain? On paper, an extra $80 million from a 1.2% levy, or even billions from a 39% tariff, may look small compared to a $48 billion trade deficit. But gold's unique role in U.S. financial stability magnifies the impact far beyond its sticker price. Gold transactions directly shape the Fed's reserve management, liquidity buffers, bond yields, and even the dollar index. A $15 rise in the gold premium can push yields up by 15 to 20 basis points. That might strengthen the dollar, but it simultaneously weakens export competitiveness, a paradox for Trump's deficit-cutting agenda. Politics only deepen the divide. Utah's mining lobby insists on strict origin transparency to boost local supply, while jewelers in New Jersey and Illinois lobby hard for exemptions to keep costs down. A few Senate swing votes could ultimately decide the outcome. Markets already feel the pressure. UBS has warned that a prolonged premium could tilt favor toward the Swiss franc, while JP Morgan estimates the Fed might need to inject $50 to $75 billion into repo markets just to stabilize liquidity, an expensive move that risks undercutting Trump's broader fiscal strategy. Meanwhile, Bern is already preparing countermeasures. Switzerland's leverage and tactical counterpunch. Switzerland is playing a long game, tying gold tariffs to other high-value exports such as pharmaceuticals, luxury watches, and precision instruments. What started as a bullion fight has become a multi-front trade negotiation. Swiss officials have signaled that any U.S. tariff relief on gold could come only if Washington eases quotas on pharmaceuticals or lowers duties on industrial components. But one red line remains untouchable: banking secrecy. Anchored in both constitutional law and public opinion, Switzerland refuses to compromise on financial privacy, even for major concessions. Domestically, the gold tariff has fueled political debate. The center-right wants revenue directed toward protecting Swiss industries, while the left argues for channeling it into climate and social programs. Yet across party lines, one position is firm: no U.S. exemptions without meaningful returns. That resolve is reinforced by Switzerland's refining dominance. More than two-thirds of the world's bullion moves through its facilities. Disrupting that flow would snarl supply chains from jewelry to advanced manufacturing, ensuring Bern's bargaining power remains both potent and enduring. Which brings us to the final question: can either side afford to let this standoff drag on? The Endgame dilemma: deal or deadlock? Both Washington and Bern recognize the risks of prolonging the fight. For the United States, steep tariffs on Swiss gold threaten to lock in higher premiums, raise borrowing costs, and chip away at the credibility of its reserves. For Switzerland, losing access to the U.S. market could slash revenues and force a rethink of its export strategy. One leading idea on the table is a partial transparency deal. Washington would ease its strict origin certification demands in return for lower tariffs, while Switzerland would grant limited, tightly controlled access to certain financial data. Supporters argue this compromise could cut the trade deficit by $4 to $5 billion, bring down gold premiums, and relieve political pressure at home. But even a middle ground comes with a price. Extra logistics, higher insurance, and compliance costs could leave a permanent $2 to $3 per ounce premium. The larger question remains: has Switzerland's prized independence now become a liability in an era defined by aggressive bilateral bargaining? For now, markets stay hypersensitive. Every leak from U.S.-Swiss negotiations moves gold prices within minutes. And as long as Bern holds the gold card, any short-term win for Washington risks turning into an expensive long-term burden. Which brings us to the closing judgment in this high-stakes geopolitical contest. Verdict: gold's geopolitical showdown. What began as a seemingly narrow tariff dispute has escalated into a global power struggle. Trump's 39% levy on Swiss gold bars has thrust U.S.-Swiss trade ties, America's domestic priorities, and the stability of international markets under the microscope. From here, three possible paths remain. Option 1, ease origin transparency rules to secure cheaper gold. Option 2, hold the line, absorb the costs, and bet on political endurance. Or Option 3, restructure reserves by experimenting with alternative metals like platinum or palladium, each route carrying steep trade-offs. Whichever path Washington chooses, the effects will be far-reaching: bond yields shifting, currency flows recalibrating, and America's reputation for fiscal discipline being tested in real time. But the bigger question is what this means for the world. Does Switzerland's dominance in refining guarantee it leverage for the next decade, or will other nations quietly build capacity to chip away at Bern's control? Could this clash trigger new alliances in commodities trade, or even accelerate the global move away from the dollar standard? The decisions made in this standoff won't just affect bankers and traders. They could reshape the very architecture of global finance. And now over to you. Should the U.S. compromise in order to secure Swiss gold? Or is standing firm worth the risk of higher costs and global uncertainty? Do you believe Switzerland can maintain its golden grip, or will the pressure finally force cracks in its dominance? Let us know what you think in the comments. Your insights help fuel deeper conversations, and we read every single one. Before you head out, don't forget to subscribe to 3 Daily News and tap the bell icon so you'll never miss our next deep dive into the crossroads of markets, politics, and power. If you found this breakdown useful, give the video a like. It helps more viewers like you discover our work. And remember, this is just one chapter in a much larger story. On the screen right now, you'll see more of our videos waiting for you. From trade wars to market shocks. Each one designed to give you the full picture of how global events connect. Click on any of them to keep exploring. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.